And I just want to firstly say a huge welcome and thank you for coming tonight, because I know the weather's not so nice and there's been issues with transport and the protests, so I really appreciate you coming tonight. And it's a really special evening for us. Oh, by the way, this is Elsie, in case you're wondering. This is my daughter, and she's hopefully not going to cry, but she's loving it. She might cry. Distraction from me. Anyway, but I'm really excited for you all to be here tonight, because we have a really special guest in the house, which is Musa Connie. And Musa Connie is the very inspiring, and I would say legendary, local leader of our partner in Sierra Leone, Means, a very small NGO that Musa set up. And in a few minutes he's going to tell you all a bit more about his work and share with you some of the reflections, his own reflections, and some stories from the first year of the project. But just for the benefit of those that perhaps don't know as much about the Dami project, I thought I would just say a few words to tell you more about what we do. So basically, at the heart of our work is basically supporting expectant and young mothers aged up to 21 to return to education or employment in Sierra Leone. And we're a very young organisation. We were set up just last year, in around August 2018. So just to kind of paint the scene. So just imagine that you're like a 14-year-old girl living in a rural community in Sierra Leone, and you're from a very poor home. And you're fortunate that you go to school despite many challenges that you and your family face putting there. And you have high hopes for the future. You might dream of being a nurse or a doctor, or a lawyer, or an astronaut, an engineer, something, you know, but you feel really positive about your future. But one day you're raped and you discover that you're pregnant. And on discovering the pregnancy, your family throw you out of your home, because often they're angry at you, or they basically say that they can't afford to look after you and your child. And you're also thrown out of school, because in Sierra Leone since 2015, all pregnant girls have been banned from going to school on the basis that they're setting a bad example to their peers. So suddenly all those dreams for the future that you had a few months ago are gone, and you're homeless, at risk of malaria when you're pregnant and so forth, and you just feel really helpless and alone and isolated with no one to turn to. And often these girls are taunted in their community as well and laughed at by their peers and so forth. So they're in a really terrible situation, and often most of the time, the girls that enter our programme are in this situation. So what we do at the Dami Project is provide really tailored and holistic support to every girl that we work with. So as well as providing scholarships and practical skill tools for them to return to school, such as uniforms and textbooks, we also provide wider complementary interventions. So one of the key things that we do is one-on-one mentoring. So every girl at the start of the programme for 12 months is assigned a female trained mentor that they work with one-on-one for 1 year. And these mentors, they don't just help them set and work towards life goals. The girls often describe that these mentors become like sisters and mothers and aunties to them. They become their friends and someone that they can rely on and turn to when they have no one else to go to, and that really helps them to grow in resilience and self-confidence and just really to believe in themselves. So we also carry out family mediation activities. So we work with where these girls have become estranged from their families. We work with them to rebuild those family relationships so that they have the support of their families, and more importantly, a safe place to call home. As well as that, we provide childcare solutions. I don't have a childcare solution for myself. So a lot of the girls, when they're at school, obviously, they really struggle to focus on their studies with their children, and if they don't have the support of their families. So we work to link them with local women who volunteer their time for a very small stipend to look after their children whilst they're at school, so they can focus on that. And as well as that, one of the things the girls have been saying to us is that they're struggling to create enough to generate an income whilst they're at school or training towards that vocation. So we've started piloting some very livelihood support, so just helping them set up small petty trading businesses to help them generate a small income whilst they study. And where possible, we do wider interventions such as helping them confidence building workshops, linking them to other organisations who can help as well. So we've started very small, and we have worked with 25 girls, and we've just completed our pilot project. And we've got Jenny who's our M&E guru over there, and she's been done an amazing end line evaluation piece together with the local team, and the results are really, really promising. So one of the outcomes is that out of the 25 girls, 24 successfully completed their school year, including one girl who actually became pregnant again, who's going to talk about in a little while. And of those girls, like, there was an attendance rate of 95%. And that's really rare in places like Sierra Leone. Even girls who aren't pregnant, often the attendance rate is as low as 70, 75%. And I think that's really testament to the local team, and particularly the mentors who have went to the school every day to check if the girls are attending, and if they're not attending, have asked why and tried to help them overcome any challenges that they're facing. So that's really promising. And now we're just scaling up. We've enrolled a further 20 girls, so we're now working with 45 girls. We have lots of ambitions for the future. There's many more girls that we want to support. Obviously, we're just limited by resource at the moment, but we're working hard to change that. And none of this work, of course, would be possible without the famous Musa and his local team. I've known Musa for over 10 years, and he's, I would say, a rare gem in Sierra Leone, in a country where often women and girls are second-class citizens, so to speak. Musa has always championed them and seen them as his heroes. He's been entertaining Elsie for the last few days as well, and he's like charmed all the ladies in the DAMI committee, and we're so lucky to have you and your team on board, because the work wouldn't be possible without them. So without further ado, I'm going to pass you over to Musa, who's going to share a bit more about the work, and then we'll open up to some questions at the end. And thank you, Elsie, for not crying.